Hello, friends. Welcome in. It is the Matt Murphy Radio Show underway for another day. Conveniently, my name is Matt Murphy, and we've got until 3 o'clock together today. I hope you spend every single moment with us on this Friday edition, October 18, 2024. We've got 18 days to go before it is Election Day. Already many people voting across the state of Tennessee, across the United States of America. Clearly, it is our number one topic. It's probably topic number 1A, number 2A, from now until November 5th, and perhaps a little bit beyond that. We'll discuss all things presidential election coming up over the course of the next 3 hours. We have an update out of Western North Carolina. We have not forgotten the folks of North Carolina. I'm trying not to till too much old ground. Obviously, I want to keep you here, want to keep you riveted, want to keep you engaged with the happenings and what's going on across the United States of America, across the state of Tennessee, in our communities, etc. But I don't want to forget those individuals that are still suffering over in Western North Carolina and in Eastern Tennessee and in parts of Georgia and other parts affected by Hurricane Helene. So we'll get an update with our man on the scene, Steve Antle, coming up at about 12:35 this afternoon. Obviously, it's Friday, meaning it's a First Amendment Freestyle Friday, meaning at 1:05 this afternoon, it is Fri-J official. And here's what you might not know. You might not know that Jay StClair argued a case all the way up to the United States Supreme Court some years ago. Jay StClair is a great friend of mine. He has been for 20 years. He is also a Tennessee man, grew up in the Sequatchie Valley, eventually moved to Huntsville, Alabama. I think he was in the Sequatchie Valley where he was born. He grew up maybe in Murfreesboro. I think I have this right. Jay can correct me if I don't. Then eventually moved to Huntsville, went to high school in Huntsville, went back to the University of Tennessee for his undergrad, went to Yale for graduate school as an attorney, and then now practices law in Birmingham. He is an employment lawyer. What he does is, well, he represents businesses in matters of employment between business and labor. Jay StClair for years represented Goodyear in the state of Alabama and represented Goodyear in Goodyear's case against, or the Lilly Ledbetter case against Goodyear. Many of you might think that you understand that case. And I don't believe, Bell, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe Jay and I have gotten into that case since we've been in Nashville.
You did a little bit a couple of months ago, but it was basically just him explaining how it was. It was him explaining what it was versus what people think it is.
Yeah, because people think that was a pay discrimination case.
Right.
That was not a pay discrimination case. Pay discrimination has been illegal, and Jay's going to describe all of this for you far better than I ever will, and so I won't try to get into the meat and potatoes of it. But most people, because they caught the mainstream media narrative of what was going on, the CNN synopsis of what was going on, they came to think that Lilly Ledbetter was being discriminated against regarding her pay, and she sued regarding that pay discrimination, and that pay discrimination was legal until the Lilly Ledbetter Act happened in 2009. None of that is true. It was not about pay discrimination. That case was about appropriate amounts of time regarding filing lawsuits, and whether or not the statute of limitation applies to an individual who is arguing that some 19 years prior that they were discriminated against regarding their pay. Anyway, Jay's going to describe all of that. Why? Because Lilly Ledbetter died this week, and because that story's back in the news. And, Bell, you don't know this.
What?
We are going to talk to somebody at 1:05 this afternoon that is being played by an actor in a movie.
Oh. I know what it is. I can't remember.
You don't know that. I don't know that you know this.
All right, who?
Jay StClair.
In what movie?
The movie Lilly. There is a movie coming out, I think it's already out, in 2024 called Lilly. It's the Lilly Ledbetter story. It's their take on what happened when Lilly Ledbetter took on Goodyear and won. She didn't, but. And Jay is in the movie. Jay StClair is being played by an actor in the movie.
Who's playing Jay?
He sent it to me.
Alec Baldwin?
No, it's not Alec Baldwin. Jay's much better looking than Alec Baldwin nowadays. I'll find out. I'll find out. He sent it to me.
Mark Ruffalo.
Mark Ruffalo wouldn't be bad. Mark Ruffalo's a little bigger, a little thicker than Jay, but that wouldn't be a bad.
More liberal.
I don't believe that I've ever heard of this person. But there, yeah. I mean, think about that. I mean, imagine what one would do if who would play you in a movie, Bell?
Nobody. I wouldn't allow my likeness to be used.
There's somebody. We got to figure that out. We got to figure out who's going to play Ken Weaver in the Life and Times of Matt Murphy when that comes out on the big screen.
Bill Skarsgård.
Bill Skarsgård. Weaver had a quick answer on it. Hello,
Well,
Ken.
He's about 6'5", and that matches me pretty well. Oh, wait a minute. I'm 5'6".
Does he have a nice goatee? That's the question. Well, they can always
we
do.
Put one on him.
That's right. The magic of Hollywood. We can make that goatee happen.
Here, drink this bottle straight.
How's Friday going for you so far, Ken?
It's going pretty good so far, Brother
Yeah?
Murphy.
Oh,
My Sooners haven't lost yet, so I'm in a pretty good mood.
Who are the Oklahoma Sooners taking on this
The
weekend?
Gamecocks.
Oh, y'all will beat the game.
Dude, I think the Gamecocks are the best 3-3 team in the nation, if you ask me.
Well, I mean, it's really it's just a week-to-week thing. I feel that way about every team in the SEC. Now, I understand that some have separated themselves from others, and I understand that Oklahoma's suffering with a lack of offense and your poor defense. I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
But it feels like week to week, almost any team can – maybe it's the Vandy effect, that any team can jump up and bite you on the rear end.
I was getting ready to say, who's Vanderbilt beating this weekend?
Gosh, who are they playing this weekend? I think are they playing Mizzou? I don't know,
I'll
Ken.
have to look at that.
I don't know is the short answer, but I'm rooting for Vandy to win all of their football games. I mean, who doesn't love that story?
Oh.
Matt, the guy's name is Darren Tunder.
The guy that's playing Jay StClair?
Yeah, he's been in Ozark, General Hospital, NCIS, and She-Hulk.
Darren Tunder. I got to look that fella up.
Mm-hmm.
He played a lawyer in She-Hulk.
Oh, did he now?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if he is find out where this what's his name again? Find out where he's from.
How you spell it?
Darren Tunder. It's DARINTOONDER.
I want to know where this fellow's from, and the reason I want to know is because Jay StClair, I don't know if any of y'all have noticed when Jay comes on these on these Friday visits, but Jay StClair has a particular accent, and Jay is also a student of accents. And so I'm wondering if this guy is going to try to throw on some sort of fake Southern drawl nonsense that he has no idea how to do.
Jay StClair has a very unique accent.
I mean, it is.
It's very unique.
It is. Jay said he never thought he had an accent until he went to school at Yale. And then everybody asked him why he talked so funny. And you know what he said, Ken? He said, I don't talk funny. All y'all talk funny. Jay went to school at Yale back in the day when it was perfectly politically correct. He said he did. I think he would tell this story. I don't think I'm telling tales out of school. That because he was proud of being from the South.
Yes, sir.
He was proud of his heritage in the state of Tennessee. He was proud of the fact that he went to the University of Tennessee, and he was proud of the fact that he got into Yale University. So you know what he put up in his dorm room, Ken, on his window?
What's that?
Confederate flag.
Oh, boy.
Back when you could do that.
When you could do
Well, because for him, it had nothing to do with race. It had everything to do with being prideful of where you come from.
Right.
And your heritage. Anyway. So, yeah, he was surrounded by a bunch of Yankees up there in the 1980s, early 1980s. I bet. Man, oh, man. Anyway, so Jay's on
territory.
Still is.
Yes, it is.
Do you watch any of that Al Smith dinner?
I did not, but, man, after hearing some of what Hand played, I am going to have to. Goodness.
What an absolute tactical error on the part of Kamala Harris. If you need another reason why she's not ready for prime time, and I've been arguing it for a while now, that this person, regardless of her politics, regardless of your politics, you can be a dyed-in-the-wool liberal. You can love liberals and liberal causes. You can want to smooch up on Gloria Johnson and all of these other liberals in the state of Tennessee or whatever. Mm. She's still awful at this. Kamala Harris is just bad at politicking.
She cannot read. She has, I'll put it to you this way, because I want to stay, down the middle.
Sure.
I don't think she's as good at engaging with people as former President Trump is. Former President Trump can engage with anyone. I have not seen her with the ability to do that. Like, she does not strike me as a person that can just talk to you about anything. He can. And he does.
He walked into a black-owned barber shop in the Bronx, New York yesterday like a boss. And the reason that he has the ability, I think, to do this is because he is confident in himself. He is assured that he's okay in any of these environments, foreign though they may be. And so he's willing to, because of his self-confidence, walk into these situations where there are unknown dynamics, but he is enough of, dare I say, an alpha male that he's willing to go into a situation where he doesn't quite know what he's going to get back. I mean, he went to the National Association of Black Journalists and had to know that he was going to get lambasted by some of those people, and he did.
And he did. Yep.
And he sat there and he answered them back, and he is willing to look at somebody and go, you know what, I don't think you're telling the truth right now, or you know what, we're going to disagree on that thing. And he's willing to go into a situation like this thing last night in New York where he knows that some people are going to roast him. And this lady that he's running against, Kamala Harris, had the opportunity to humanize herself, to go in with humor, to slash and burn on Trump like he did on her, to make jokes and to make comments and to do all of that. And she chose not to participate. She sent in a 4-minute video that was just awful. It was an attempt to be funny, and it fell flat. I don't even know who remembers Mary Catherine Gallagher on Saturday Night Live.
That's what that was.
Yeah.
I was wondering, what is this? I thought it was Saturday Night Live or something.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what it was based on. I mean, Mary Catherine.
But it was not funny.
No, it was not funny. I mean, I guess they're like, how do we create an association with the Catholic Church? Because that's a Catholic-based charity, the Al Smith Dinner is.
Yeah.
So how do we create that dynamic? And I don't know. It was just cringy. They were trying too hard, and then
there's nothing organic about that campaign. I do not see anything organic. Whereas with Trump's campaign, it's very organic. It's just whatever happens, he pivots, and sometimes he does misstep, he misspeaks sometimes, but he keeps going. And he keeps facing challenges. He does not shy away from challenges like the other campaign seems to do.
I love it. I mean, and with 18 days to go before the presidential election will culminate, and I'm trying to kind of change out my verbiage there. I've done a lot of these now since 2000. I've been a part of, 2000, 04, 08, 12, 16, 20. So this is number 7 for me.
I saw a report last night. I wanted to ask you about this. And it is regarding the black vote. I saw where Biden won 92% of the black vote. And, of course, we know that, according to what we're told, he barely won the election.
Right.
She only has, I want to say 89, 88% of the black vote, according to some polls. And I'm seeing reports that is enough to push Trump over the edge.
And I don't know that I believe that Trump will not get somewhere in the neighborhood of 14 or 15% of the black vote.
Right.
And if he does that, it is a slam dunk for him on election night.
Yeah, I mean, if these numbers hold up, he doesn't need much more.
Right. I mean, you cobble together. I mean, and this is where the Democrats are living and breathing, right? They live and breathe in this identity-style politics where if they start losing some of these block votes that they promise goodies to, and they do all of these different things to get the vote, or they just remind them, hey, you've always been a Democrat, so you've got to be a Democrat. That's what they're doing with the unions right now.
Right.
You start losing a little bit of those block votes in nips and bits and pieces, and before you know it, you got a landslide on your hand. I'm not predicting a landslide. I think it'll be nip and tuck until Election Day, and I encourage people to get out and vote and encourage others to vote, but Ken, you're right.
There's also a whole lot of stigma for those groups if they admitted that they were going to vote for Trump.
It's one of the reasons
they don't
that I
want
think
to say so.
It's one of the reasons that I think that it's probably more like 85% rather than 88%.
Yeah.
Because if you're an African American and you get a call and it's a pollster, and I mean, a lot of people, one, don't want to do any of that, but two, they don't want to break through that stigma. I mean, how difficult is it if you're an African American voter to publicly declare your support for Donald Trump?
Right.
When you know what you're going to get back in return. We had a caller yesterday, Johnny, who said that he told his family in 2016, his family said, you're a racist. His family told him, a black man, that he was a racist for voting for Donald Trump.
His family.
And you know what he said about that family kid? I don't know if you heard it. He said, most of those folks that called me that back in 2016, they're voting for Donald Trump in 2024. How about that? Because you come to realize that it's not about what others want to put on the heart or mind of the individual. It's about what they can do to create a dynamic where you can do the things that will improve your life and improve the life of your family. That's what it's all about.
Yes.
That's and frankly, I do not believe that Donald Trump is a racist. I don't believe that Donald Trump is any of this nonsense that he's being described as. But even if he was, is he going to do the things necessary to benefit the United States of America in a way that's going to grow our economy, strengthen us overseas, strengthen our energy sector, strengthen our border security, and all of those other things that we talk about on a day-to-day basis? And the answer is yes. He's demonstrated that he has an action plan that's going to better benefit the United States of America than the liberals. And, I mean, that's my take on it. So we'll delve into the Al Smith dinner from last night. It was absolutely fabulous. The jokes were aplenty. I'm a little bit surprised that Jim Gaffigan was the MC because Jim Gaffigan is Mr. Anti-Trump. But I guess he thought that both candidates would be there, and Kamala Harris kind of left him high and dry. We'll discuss. I mean, I guess we'll discuss that. We'll take your telephone calls. It's First Amendment Freestyle Friday as well on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. Matt Murphy here for Men of Valor. Men of Valor is a wonderful charitable organization in the state of Tennessee. They benefit us so greatly. They help save money in our pockets, our taxpayer dollars, and they also help save souls. Literally, they help save souls. Let's talk about this. They enter into prisons. They go into the prison system, and they offer ministry in a way that the state can't or won't. And they do so in a fashion that helps individuals understand that the way that they lead their lives today, tomorrow, next week, next year, and for the rest of their lives will determine an ultimate fate that is far greater judgment than anything that man can lay on them. And with that in mind, they create a dynamic by which these men, most of whom are going to get out of the prison system, desire to become better and more productive members of our society and become less of a drain on society as a result. That's what it's all about, folks, is offering a little here, a little on the front end, a little love, a little kindness, and yes, a little money in the form of donation that can benefit us so greatly on the back end. Will you join Men of Valor in helping set these captives free and making our community a safer place to live as a result? I encourage you to do it. Go to movministry.com. That's movministry.com to find out more about the wonderful ministry that is Men of Valor, and tell them that Matt Murphy sent you.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products?
With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Hey, I'm Joan Jones on Super Talk 99.7. And you know, the dual power of radio and digital has always been such a plus for our advertisers. So if you're thinking about your 2025 plans, make sure you check us out at 997wtn.com/epic. Go there now.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy in the middle of downtown Franklin, Tennessee. We've talked so much about Savory Spice. I thought, why not show you the place? So let's go on in and see what's popping at Savory Spice. As I've always said, you will smell the spices even before you walk in. I can smell them right here in the doorway. Come on in and let's introduce you to the one and only Holly, who is the owner and proprietor of Savory Spice. Say hey, Holly.
Hello, everyone.
Now, enough about Holly. Let's talk about spicy and easy products like the incredible taco soup, which, as I said, you put this in a crock pot, you put all the ingredients that it tells you to buy right there, you put the spices in, and it's so easy. So if you don't know what you're doing around the kitchen, it's a perfect way to find your way around the kitchen, as is the Mediterranean dill risotto. Now, for the holidays, pumpkin pie spice. What doesn't it have, Holly?
Pumpkin.
Doesn't have any pumpkin in it. That's a fun fact for all of you kids out there. Now, if you stop by Savory Spice, either in the Franklin location or at L&L Market, you can get yourself a sample of the dill dip, which is my absolute favorite. Just tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Savory Spice with purchase now. So come by Franklin or L&L Market in Nashville and come see Holly and the entire crew at Savory Spice.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand from 99.7 WTN. If you're thinking about advertising this year in 2025 and beyond, you have to combine the power of radio with the power of digital. We do it here flawlessly, and our sales team can hook you up with a package tailored to your exact needs. So if you want to advertise, advertise with me. Advertise with 99.7 WTN. Go to the website for more info, 997wtn.com/epic.
Hey, that guy had a nice voice. I like his voice. Hey, friends, it's Matt Murphy, and let's talk for a moment about your health. I want to remind you about Kraft Body Scan and everything that they're doing for the people of our community. You know, I regularly encourage you to get a heart and lung scan. Well, right now, I'm encouraging you to take advantage of this October special from Kraft Body Scan. To celebrate their anniversary, they're giving you the gift. Their 7th anniversary is this month, and they're giving you $700 off their full body scan. It's amazing, this opportunity that they're offering you. It's not just for the huge savings, but they want you to be able to see your health clearly. A full body scan can help you spot potential health risk early, before these risks become serious, and oftentimes before you become symptomatic at all. It's fast, it's non-invasive, and scans key areas of your body, like your chest, your heart, your lungs, your bone density, your pelvis, and your stomach area, including the lower and upper intestines. Your health is worth seeing clearly, friends. It's no better time than right now to get this done. Celebrate Kraft Body Scan's 7 years of wellness with $700 off this life-changing scan. Don't wait. Your health deserves it. Go ahead and book today at craftbodyscan.com or call 615-436-1000, 615-436-1000.
Looks like we still have that crash affecting 24 westbound in Clarksville. It is a 76-minute delay. This crash is 24 westbound just past MLK Parkway. And a vast trove of sealed evidence to tell you about at 12:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
You know, we were told, thank you much, Ken Weaver, over in the newsroom. We'll get to Ken here in just a moment. We were told, we were led to believe, I don't even know that we were told, but we were led to believe that in the modern era, with the advancement of the internet, and in a lot of ways this is true, that we have information at the ready at our fingertips. I heard Elon Musk say it this way, that right now in my telephone, as long as I could be in the middle of Africa in the safari, I could be in the middle of the Amazon rainforest, and if I have a Starlink hookup for my phone, I have more information at my fingertips as just an average Joe than Ronald Reagan as president of the United States had at his fingertips, or even George H.W. Bush, or even Bill Clinton. But with this level of information, we were led to believe that there would be immense clarity in terms of what's really going on and what's not going on. What are the facts and what is fiction? Sadly, that's not come to fruition. And I'm going to try to walk through and navigate a minefield of conspiracy theory regarding Western North Carolina right after the break. There are not stacks of bodies. There are not refrigerated trucks with bodies in them. There are not thousands of people that are unaccounted for, as best I can tell. Yet, sadly, these myths are propagating all over the internet, and we're going to cut through it in just a moment. We'll talk to Steve Antle as well, get an update from him. Right now, it's news time on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Boy, that delay keeps growing there due to that crash in Clarksville. It is 24 westbound just past MLK Parkway. That is an 80-minute delay, and it is backed up for miles. The federal judge presiding over former President Trump's election interference case in D.C. has ordered a vast trove of evidence released to the public. But as Stephen Portnoy reports, there's not much new information to be found in the documents.
The former president's attorneys fought to prevent this release, saying it could harm his campaign. But the vast majority of the nearly 1,900 pages are blank, marked sealed, likely indicating they were derived from closed grand jury witness testimony. The unredacted portions include testimony to the House January 6th committee, news articles, book excerpts, and tweets. The publicly available evidence in the filing also includes fake electoral certificates signed by Trump supporters, along with the envelopes they were mailed in.
Yeah, the Trump campaign's responding. Spokesman Stephen Chung telling Fox News Digital radical Democrats are hell-bent on interfering in the presidential election on behalf of, he says, lying Kamala Harris. With just over 2 weeks until Election Day, President Trump is dominating this race, and crazed liberals, as he put it, throughout the deep state are freaking out. Hurricane Helene recovery update. Governor Bill Lee telling reporters in Knoxville about the timeline for partially reopening I-40 in Cock County.
We're trying to get the Tennessee side of the interstate open, and we believe that'll happen in the next few days. There is a priority been given to this, obviously. We have already received $32 million in immediate funding from the federal government, and we think that'll be just the beginning.
Meanwhile, the North Carolina side of 40 will stay closed indefinitely. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey everybody, Dan Mandis with Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. Right now, we are bringing results for our clients using both our radio and digital assets. 2025 is going to be a huge year, not only here in Tennessee, but of course, across America. If you want to jump on board, again, we're offering great incentives. Find us online, 997WTN.com, and let's talk.
So when it comes to foundation issues or waterproofing issues, USS is simply the best when it comes to diagnosing these things, which is why it's so much of a pleasure to talk to them or talk to you about them and to recommend USS to you. When it comes to your home repairs, there's no better expert than USS. And when they come to your house, you're getting problem solvers. You're not getting somebody that's trying to upsell you on anything. They're just trying to diagnose what's going on in your home. And sometimes they'll tell you, you know what, you're A-okay. You might have an issue with a French drain here, or you might have this issue there, but for the most part, you're just fine. And they are willing to tell you that. As a matter of fact, they want to tell you that. But if these issues are more of a concern, they're going to alert you to that as well. And they're going to fix what ails your home before it gets worse. And that is key. Over 25,000 satisfied customers with USS. Since 1994, they've been guaranteeing their best and delivering throughout Middle Tennessee. Give them a call today if you notice a problem, 615-488-7855. If you don't know what those problems might look like, then I would encourage you to go to USSTN.com. That's USSTN.com.
The dual power of radio and digital advertising on Super Talk 99.7 WTN has always delivered for our local advertisers. Now's your chance to book your 2025 marketing campaign early for savings and incentives. Just reach out today to your local ad representative or go to 997wtn.com/epic.
By the way, I failed in my introduction today at 12:05. Let me get to the pleasantries really quickly before I get to our next guest. We've talked to Steve Antle quite a bit over the last several weeks. He's over in Fairview, North Carolina, doing God's work, trying to make people as whole as he possibly can. It's an impossible task, but he's doing a great job over there, and we try to help him any way we can. It is Locks for Trump Day 230. For 230 days, I've been growing out my hair in anticipation of a new president-elect, and I've made a promise that if Donald Trump gets elected, I'm not cutting it until Inauguration Day at least. It is episode 675 of our proceedings on this Friday edition. Bell K does not participate on the television side of things. You're welcome to join us, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch. But Bell does entitle those episodes, and episode 675 is entitled?
Very simple today. Your roastmaster and master of ceremonies, Matt Murphy, on a First Amendment Freestyle Friday.
There you go. I like it. I like it. It's also 18 days before Election Day. So 39 after the hour, let's get an update over in North Carolina. Steve Antle joins us to tell us what is happening in Fairview and beyond. Steve, good to talk with you again. I hope you're well.
Good to talk with you, Matt. I'll just give you just a brief update on the good news, and then we're going to have a discussion. And it's probably not going to be something that your listeners or you are going to be real thrilled with. So as far as what we've been doing what we've been doing. I've got a couple more trailers came in, courtesy of Mr. Long over at Meisler Trucking and B&W Trucking out of Burlington. They've just been fantastic. Like, I pick up the phone, and a trailer magically appears the next day. So we've been getting shelving in to get those organized so we can start doing distribution straight out of the back of the trucks. And all of that is happening over at Spring Mountain Operating Base, Spring Mountain Baptist Church. Still rounding up supplies, had some more balloonists came in the last couple of days. We just picked up a bunch of stuff that I bought through them from our friends down in Atlanta and Debbie and Rick Farrell, and they just stopped by. And then Frank Stevenson, a balloonist out of Louisville, Kentucky, he drove down, Frankfort, Kentucky, I'm sorry. He drove down and dropped off a bunch of stuff the day before, so we're just rolling along. Donation money, whenever I get donation money comes in, I keep spending it on whatever we can't get through donations, and then whatever kind of infrastructure expenses we have to keep this thing going. I've got my friend Mike riding with me today. He's another hot air balloonist. He's here local. And say hi, Mike. Hi.
Hello, Mike.
Hello. So we're going to have a discussion, and I'm just going to tell you what I know, and I really don't want to say that it's bad or good. I'm just reporting the facts as they happen, and I'm not going to use specific names. So one of my forward operating bases that had been set up that was actually inside the sealed off area at the beginning, I've been servicing them since the road opened and I was allowed to go out there. And the people that were running that place were locals. Everything's been running smooth. I get the list. I go get the stuff, yada, 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 same old thing every day. We've been just rocking and rolling out there. A couple days ago, I pulled up. My normal person wasn't there. I asked where she was at. They said, well, she's not here right now. She went back to her regular job. I said, okay, well, who do I talk to? And a new fella was there, and he introduced himself, and I didn't know who he was. He was not local. And so I got his number, and he started sending me lists for the next day, and so a couple days went by. Well, yesterday evening I went out there to drop off my stuff, and finally my original depot manager out there, she was out there, and I had a talk with her. And the upshot of it is that these people that have come in, they are from the American Red Cross. They are hired. They are employees of the Red Cross, and they are taking over that operation out there. There's a lot of uneasiness. There's a lot of the next 24 to 48 hours we're going to kind of monitor and see what's going on, but that I know what I've just told you is absolute fact, because the guy, after I talked to her last night, I ran into the new guy right after that, and I nailed him down on it. And he said, yes, we are employed by them, by the Red Cross. So this is going to impact us a couple ways. One, obviously, we're from here, and the people that were running all of that are from here, and we've developed a relationship with the community, and they all know us. We know everybody's families, and these are people coming in from outside. I talked to another person that does the same exact thing that I'm doing up in a different area, up in the Burnsville, Spruce Pine area. And he told me they did the same thing with an operation up there, and then they stopped distributing supplies. In other words, they basically turned locals away when they needed stuff. I'm not going to let that happen here. But the best I can do is just stop supplying them with stuff and just take them off my list. And I hate to do that, and that's why I'm kind of waiting to see how this is going to play out. But last night, I was really bothered by the whole thing. Yesterday was just a bad day all the way around. I had to watch the house that I used to live in, where we lived when my daughter was born. I had to watch it burn to the ground. I just happened to find it on fire. And so it was a bad day. I'll just say it. It was a bad day.
Hold on a second, Steve. I want to hear about last night, but I want to make sure that I understand you correctly. So you're saying that the local volunteers that have been kind of like yourself, that have been on the point of making sure that people who are in desperate need of supplies and donations or whatever it might be are getting them, those people are being replaced by paid people from the American Red Cross, and they're kind of cutting.
At that one location.
Okay.
Yes. At that one location.
Okay.
But, I know how that, I know how the government operates, so I get it. I'm fascinated. So go ahead. I'm sorry I had to interrupt, but what about last night? Last night I was trying to figure out how this could happen. I understand that FEMA can do it. I understand. They're a federal agency. They got mandates. They got laws, regulations, Congress, the executive branch. They do whatever they're told to do, and they have the legal authority, just like other law enforcement or whatever agencies can come in and take stuff away from you at times. But I couldn't figure out the connection with the Red Cross, and then I was going through their website, and I'm just going to read this. This is exactly copied and pasted from the Red Cross's website. And it says, quote, "Unlike other congressionally chartered organizations, the Red Cross maintains a special relationship with the federal government. We have the legal status of a, quote, federal instrumentality, unquote, due to our charter requirements to carry out responsibilities delegated to us by the federal government." Now, that's how they're doing it. So, in my mind, when I read that, I see it as that they're an arm, they're a private entity, and they're good. I'm not bad-mouthing them. I'm just telling you, we're concerned. We've been doing this now for
what concerns me is the way that you describe it, in as much as they are taking, quote, over and shutting others down. I don't understand. I'm fine with the American Red Cross being a part of the relief effort, but they should be shutting nothing down. Nothing.
So 10 days ago, my daughter is a nurse, and you talked to her.
I did.
And she's a nurse with the county.
Is her name Megan? Was it Megan?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a nurse with the local one of our counties here, and so they had a team of nurses that were sent to a shelter, and she was one of them. And they were working at the shelter, and the day that they were there, the same thing happened there. The Red Cross came in while they were all working and told them all, "Okay, you can leave now. We're taking this operation over." And our nurses left. Now, I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that actually occurred, and this is now occurring with this. So my concern is, one, where does this go? And my other concern is, then what are they going to do with our other places? And so then now we have to start to think, okay, how are we going to anticipate what's going to happen? And one last thing on this topic, what was so funny is that after I talked to her last night, I had to unload the stuff that I had brought out there, so I had to pull around back and I was dropping the stuff off in the back parking lot, and the other guy, the new guy, was out there. He was on the phone with somebody, and he hung up, came over, he knows me, and he offered me a job. He said, "Can you send me your resume, because we think you'd be a good resource for us to." And I got, and I'm standing there. I just had this other conversation with my other person up in the top parking lot, and she was very upset about it. And she told me, "I'm going to check in with you tomorrow," meaning today, because we're fixing to go in for a big meeting right now. As a matter of fact, I had gotten there just before this big meeting where it was all going to become official. So I haven't heard the results of that yet. But when I do, I will let you know.
I mean, please do. I mean, and all I could tell you, I'm such a contrarian. I would be right where you are, Steve. It would not sit well with me at all. This news. I mean, this takeover effort, especially on the back end. I mean, I'm not saying that there isn't going to be weeks and months and even years for some people to be kind of, get a semblance of normalcy back in their lives. But for them to come in on the back end and try to take over on the back end after you've done the grunt work, after others like you have done the grunt work, making sure that people who are in need are getting a helping hand, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what to make of all of that. That's bad. That's bad. It's bad anytime somebody, it's been my experience, Steve, anytime someone comes into a situation where people are in need and they tell people to shut down good work because they're now in charge, that is never a good thing, ever. I mean,
we're gonna keep doing what we're doing, and the other people and my other locations have been made aware of what is going on out there, and we'll do whatever we need to do. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing privately until I can't do it anymore, or until they put me in jail, which is fine. I'm not. Doesn't bother me.
I'd like to see them try that. I mean, I don't think that would go well for them.
But anyway, other than that,
let me ask you real quick. I've only got about a minute or two left, but I want to ask you this, Steve. I mean, and obviously, if you want to give Steve Antle is ANTLE. His Venmo is at Steve-Antle on Venmo. I trust Steve as the day is long. He's done such great work from the beginning. We've checked in with him with regularity. He's had so many people from our area come help, and we're just pleased to be able to talk with him. So can you cut through some of these conspiracy theories online about hundreds and hundreds of people dying, hundreds of bodies being stacked in refrigerated trailers? And I mean, I'm just getting a lot of these conspiracy theories, and I cannot corroborate any of them. The best numbers that I've gotten is that there have been about 100 deaths confirmed in North Carolina, and there are almost 100 people that are still missing. I understand that those are fluid numbers, but have you heard these rumors and conspiracy theories?
Oh, we heard, eventually. We heard everything after you all did, because the conspiracy theories are out there on the outside. We eventually, now that we got communication back, I've heard them, but I haven't seen any of that. They did have, like anything else, there's an element of truth to things. They did have refrigerated trucks on standby that the government had at the airport early on because they didn't know what was going to happen.
Right.
But it's not, it's not what's in.
I mean, and for me, and the reason that I bring any of this up is this situation is bad enough without making things up. Yeah.
No. Mike's nodding his head in agreement.
I mean,
it's bad enough. We don't.
I mean, people are dead. Homes are destroyed. Lives are destroyed. All material possessions are lost. It's bad enough what's happening without having to bat down some of these nonsensical theories. And I just wanted to speak to a man who's been on the ground from day one, from the moment that Hurricane Helene descended upon North Carolina, just to speak to you directly about it. Steve, if there's anything we can do, we're going to continue checking in. We're here for the long term, buddy.
Thoughts and prayers right now, because the funerals are starting. We had the first one yesterday, and we're going to have them almost every day going forward.
God bless you over there. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Steve. Y'all take care, okay?
Thank you.
All right. There's Steve Antle, who is frustrated with the – I mean, that's what happens, right? They come in, they take over, and they tell you to go home. Well, what do you mean go home? I am home, you jerks. 53 after the hour on Super Talk. You know, one of the number one questions I get from listeners, how can I get into the conservative fight? How can I put my money where my mouth is? Well, I understand that it's critical to know where your dollars are going. And if you understand where your dollars are going, then you can begin to understand how to put, quote unquote, that money where your mouth is. Most credit cards are funneling millions of dollars to the political left. Did you know this? But now you have an opportunity to fight back. You have a choice. Coin is America's conservative credit card. You earn cash back while fighting the liberal agenda. It is like a standard credit card, and obviously I want you to go and I want you to check it out for yourself. But here's the deal. You can fight back against the woke agenda and stop giving your money by extension through your credit card company to woke causes. Let's go to coin.com. That's coin.com. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details.
I do everything from scrubbing cages to asking people for donations to answering the phones and helping facilitate getting animals to the rehab. I'm there on the weekends, up there taking care of animals with the team.
You got a great team there. It's a small team, but a great team that works together. And
I started about 20 years ago. My dear friend Carol Burgess founded Harmony in Fairview.
Okay.
And we decided to reopen it in West Nashville. And we are rocking along. Lots of animals. One of the primary calls that we get are, I found a bird, it's on the ground, what do I do? And in most situations, you should let it alone unless there's an imminent danger to that animal, because the parents are helping it and feeding it, and it just needs a couple of scary days on the ground until it gets back up into flight. What about bunnies, Melody? Can we give advice about bunnies?
The bunnies, they're just the sweetest, most innocent creatures, and we just see the worst things happen to them. Cats, dogs, lawnmowers, weed whackers.
In most cases, if the animals aren't injured, if you can put the rabbits back, that's always better to be with the mother rabbit than to come to us.
All the storms that have been coming through and just destroying nests, and a lot of babies will be found on the ground. Re-nesting is possible and preferable.
You play the video calls and you put the baby near where they found it, and the mama will actually come down and pick it up and then bring it back.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that cool?
Nice.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and that crash in Clarksville impacting 24 westbound is almost a 2-hour delay. It's right there at MLK. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Karen Travers at the White House with the latest on what the Biden administration is saying about the state of Hamas.
The White House says the death of Hamas leader Yahya Sinwar marks a, quote, inflection point when it comes to potentially reaching a ceasefire deal to secure the release of the remaining hostages and end the war in Gaza. National Security spokesman John Kirby says Hamas is now in a much more weakened position than it ever was before, but still.
They're still holding hostages. And yes, they still have some capability left to them. So there's still a lethality to Hamas that, just can't be underestimated.
Election 2024, both presidential campaigns holding rallies in Michigan today. The two candidates running just about neck and neck. And so it's really going to be crucial for both of them to not only turn out their bases, but also appeal to undecided voters, swing voters, disaffected voters from either party. Right now in Nashville, witnesses to that deadly DUI crash downtown overnight may never be the same.
I was standing waiting for the walkie sign off the curb where I should not have been. The car literally just blew through 4th and Commerce, came up on the curb and hit three ladies here and then on down another male. Never expect this on a Thursday night in Nashville.
Channel 4 says a 66-year-old man visiting from Wisconsin was killed. 3 others went to the hospital but will be okay. Police arrested 25-year-old John Williams, whose birthday was yesterday, and they allegedly found bottles of tequila in his car. While it may be true that neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night will keep the mail from getting through, economic headwinds are tougher to overcome. The total volume delivered by the U.S. Postal Service has been steadily declining since 2006, but Jim Ryan sees a glimmer of hope for the 250-year-old post office.
Considering the speed of email and the convenience of online bill paying,
we often don't think that people still use the mail that much.
Nick Spitzman is general manager of Stamps.com.
Our survey shows that 2/3 of Americans still mail at least once or twice monthly.
And things are about to pick up at the post office. Around 1 in 5 Americans plan to vote by mail in the 2024 presidential election.
New data showing electric vehicle registrations are up 18% from a year ago for the month of August. That means EVs now account for 8.6% of the light vehicle market, according to S&P Global. Tesla commands 46% of EV sales, but that number was 51% a year ago. The company's market share is shrinking amid new competition from Chevy, Honda, and Kia. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for The Glock Store. The Glock Store for the month of October is offering an incredible special, their Shoot House, and I've been telling you about that for quite some time. The Glock Store also loves to have a party, and they invite you to become a part of the party process at the Glock Store. You can have a party at the Glock Store like nobody's business, but I'm here to tell you about a party that we're putting on that the Glock Store is a huge part of, and what they are doing to give away some goodies from the Glock Store. Friends, so we've got the big election night party. You probably know about that by now. Wilson County Fairgrounds at the Ag Center. Glock Store is a huge sponsor of this party, and they are bringing the goods. As they did with our VP Debate Watch Party, they are bringing some of these incredible mugs that are made out of, I don't even know how to describe it. You just have to see it for yourself. You can go online at glockstore.com. These are weapon-grade material mugs, a hydration station, if you will, that they're giving away as a giveaway at the debate, at the watch party in Wilson County. That's third prize. Third prize is this incredible mug. Second prize, a few range sessions at the Glock Store. Go to shoot270.com to find out more. And first prize, a custom Glock 19 with Donald Trump's face right on it. That's right. It's the Trump Glock 19 being given away by the Glock Store at our watch party. You are invited to be there. You need to sign up for the Glock Store's giveaway, and we would love to see you as the big winner. Glockstore.com for more information. That's Glockstore.com. The Matt Murphy Radio Show, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's 1:07. Glad to have you with us. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. We've got 2 more hours to go on this Friday edition. It is a First Amendment Freestyle Friday on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Let me reiterate something we were talking about last hour. As far as I have been able to tell, and several of you have communicated, and you're welcome to communicate on the super text line. The super text line is open and running at 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. I do not pretend that I'm on the ground in North Carolina. I'm not in Burnsville. I'm not in Bakersville. I'm not in Fairview. But I've talked to enough people that are. And I have done, I would dare say, more research than most. Not all. More research than most. And I can find no information verifiable that would indicate that the government is hiding, local, state, or otherwise, that they are hiding the number of deaths in North Carolina. There are many, too many to count, liars on social media. And you have to understand that. There are just a lot of liars on social media. Thus far as I can count, and this is as of yesterday, last evening as a matter of fact, in North Carolina, there are 95 confirmed deaths and about 92 individuals remain missing. Most of the Helene-related deaths, 42, happened in Buncombe County, and I might be mispronouncing that. I apologize if I am. Bell, by the way, while I'm doing this story, you got anybody you need to call right now? Yeah, I was trying to stretch it while, but I didn't want to do that on the air, but needed to. Yancey County has 11 confirmed deaths. Henderson County has 7 confirmed deaths. Haywood County has 5. That according to the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. I am aware of the unsubstantiated rumor mongering that goes on social media. And as I said last hour, I am saddened that, as my good friend that we're about to invite to the show, Jay StClair, notes, that the 21st century simply hasn't turned out the way that we thought it would. I thought that the internet and the advent of on-the-ground eyewitness reports through social media would cut through a lot of the garbage. Sadly, it has added to the garbage. So there are many people that act like they know what they're talking about, and they've got a friend of a friend, or they claim that they have eyewitness accounts of refrigerated trucks stacked full of bodies. Let's use the brains that God gave us to think about these things. If there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, by accounts that I've seen online, thousands of people are dead. Thousands of people are missing. Well, all of those people have families or extended friendship groups. They all have friend groups within their local community. Why in the world would not there be a howl of protest? And I would amplify it as best we can on a 100,000-watt radio station in Nashville, Tennessee. Is it not easier for you to understand that perhaps somewhere early on in the process of gathering information, misinformation became, and I don't want to cast aspersions, probably in the beginning of all of this, some of this misinformation was not intentional. It was a desperate attempt to get good information to the public as quickly as possible. But sadly, after some of that information got disseminated on social media platforms, it got used and abused to the point where it's just conspiracy theory now. So I would just strongly encourage you to try to cut through it and get to the truth as best we can. It is bad enough without the conspiracy theories. It is rough enough for the families that are going through this without the conspiracy theories. We don't need them. And that's what I have to say about that. It's 12 minutes after the hour of 1 o'clock on Friday, which means it's Friday. It is time, ladies and gents, for our good friend, my best friend in the world, a legal man, a legal correspondent. He knows the law backwards and forwards, upwards and downwards. He's a good Tennessee man. He is my life consultant and also my gambling buddy. His name is Jay StClair, and he joins us on the program on these Fridays. Hello, Jay. How are you?
Hey, buddy. You know what, man? I think the only way I could be better is if I were Smokey. Dang, I bet he's fired up.
I bet he is. Gotta chomp on some elephant meat this weekend, right? Love it. Absolutely love it. That's old school. All these newbies that think that, oh, it's Tennessee, Florida, or it's Tennessee, Georgia. No. That's old school hatred in the college football world. Am I right?
We didn't. I guess you never knew me when I had Smokey.
I did not know Smokey, but you had a Smokey, right?
And then Junior, I had Smokey Junior.
Oh,
did you ever know Junior?
I didn't know Junior. I think the first dog that I met that you had was Blue.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to come up with another thing like Nealon or whatnot. And couldn't come up with, so it's Bluetick Hounds, right? They're all Bluetick Hounds. And so Lauren said, well, why don't you name him Blue? And I said, that's brilliant. Right, because the dog in Cool Hand Luke, you know, the bloodhound that tracks Luke down and dies, runs himself to death. His name was Blue.
Oh, well, it's a big win. That's a good week, and it should be a lot of fun at Neyland Stadium in the great state of Tennessee. I doubt that Jay StClair will be watching that football game live, but I know your son will.
Oh yeah,
and I know your grandson will.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
they're all in.
Yeah, I'm sure Chuck and me's whole family. I tell you, the game I regret the most not going to, it was in Birmingham a while back, and it was when Peyton Manning was quarterback, and they scored on the first play of the game, and went on to score 4 touchdowns in the first quarter. It's 28-0. It's just a great game. So we'll see. I don't expect that for her, but they'll turn this. I don't have my hopes up, Matt, but they'll turn the scoreboard up.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, it's my understanding they're gonna turn the lights on, the scoreboard on, and they're gonna play a football game tomorrow.
Yeah, they're gonna play football. Absolutely.
Jay, this is I find this to be a great opportunity, and I'm sad that Lily Ledbetter passed away, but Lily Ledbetter passed away. We've all got it coming. She is a name known to many people that have followed politics over the last, couple of decades, I suppose. But you probably know the story of Lily Ledbetter better than anybody, maybe in the United States of America, certainly in the state of Tennessee right now, because you really did. You were on the ground living through this. Talk to people about your experience as an employment attorney and your experience with Goodyear and your experience with Lilly Ledbetter.
For those that don't know, Lilly Ledbetter was a supervisor at a Goodyear tire plant in Gadsden, Alabama. She started working there in the early 70s, and her career ended in the late 90s. She was there for about 19 years. And at the end of her career, after she was let go as part of a reduction force, she sued, claiming many things, and mostly about her termination. Well, it was actually mostly about a 3-day suspension. That's what really got her worked up, was a 3-day suspension.
Mm-hmm.
Went to see a lawyer, and so as lawyers do, they threw in the kitchen sink. And one of the other claims they threw in, just kind of as an afterthought, was discrimination in pay, claiming that she had been paid less than men because she's a woman. And that case went on for a couple of years, and we got a lot of it thrown out, and eventually 2 claims went to court, and one was this pay claim, and the other was a retaliation claim about her termination. And here's what the lawyers did, and I'm very good friends with her now. We got to be good friends out of it. So she was there for 19 years, and they have a merit-based compensation system. If it's got to go to a break, let me. I'll speed up.
No, you're fine. We got 3 or 4 minutes.
All right, and so they had a merit-based system. Every year they'd evaluate you, give you a raise. And they did that for 19 years. Well, I have a lot of respect for Lilly Ledbetter, but I'm just going to put it down there with the goats get to it. She wasn't real good at her job.
Mm-hmm.
But she wasn't let go. And the way they dealt with that was on pay raises every year. And she'd get a 2% raise, and, other people get 3 or 4%. That goes on for 19 years. And then she was let go, goes to a lawyer, files a lawsuit, pay discrimination. The lawyer says, well, we're going to go back 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
We're challenging every pay decision, every annual raise that she got over the last 19 years. So I'm getting ready to try the case. I represent Goodyear in the case. And I'm getting ready to try it, and I'm in the conference room. I think it's on the weekend. I got a little white, little flip chart up there. So I have all the years written down. And I'm trying to decide how I'm going to try the case. So I have a column for witnesses, a column for documents. How am I going to prove? So it's really 19 trials.
Mm-hmm.
So I started going back. I started the current year, and I've got great evidence, great witnesses. We're going to win that. I go back another year, and we've got a witness. Okay. I get about 4 or 5 years back, man, and I realize I can't try this case. I don't have any witnesses. I don't have any documents. I don't even know what happened. And so that's when I came up with the idea that, no, they can't do that. There's a statute of limitations. You can't wait forever to bring a lawsuit.
Right.
And in these claims, it's actually pretty quick. It's only 180 days. And so my argument was she can only challenge the last decision because that's the only one that was made in 180 days. The judge didn't agree with that. He let them try the case over 19 years. They won, got a big verdict. And then it ultimately went to the United States Supreme Court, and they said, Jay, you are right.
That's got to be kind of nice.
Which is nice.
Which is nice.
It was great, man. I did not actually argue the case. I was on the brief. The way Supreme Court's argument worked now is there's this little cottage industry of people that's all they do.
But did you get Ginsburg?
So I'm at the oral argument. I'm sitting at council table. I'm 20 feet away from the justices. And they're hammering the other side with questions. And because they let the Equal Pay Act claim go out and all this other stuff, and hammer. And we walk out and we say, we're going to win, but man, we may have gotten Ginsburg. And she just blasted us. She was in the dissent. But yeah, she
didn't you say she read her dissent from the bench?
Which they never do.
Which they don't do.
Never do. Yeah. Yeah.
So so this was a case about statute of limitations and whether or someone can bring an argument 19 years after something happened.
That's right. That's exactly what the case was about, man. But no one knows that.
Well, I mean, didn't you tell me one time that a fellow that you talk with, one of the guys at Goodyear, would call you and you would
My client called me up about every 6 months or so and say, "Hey, Jay, we did win that case, didn't we?"
Because the media acted as if you lost, as if Lily Ledbetter was the big winner. Well, we'll talk about that. I want to talk about that in a minute because it's so important to bring up. Jay has reminded me over the years, from time to time this comes up because I know he has such intimate knowledge of it, that, it became a case about pay discrimination. And I want to remind people when pay discrimination on the basis of sex became illegal. And Jay knows intimately all about that, and we'll talk about it next. 21 after the hour on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy for U.S. Pest. U.S. Pest, owned and operated by J.K. and Erica Brister. They do such a great job, and they're growing by leaps and bounds. Why? Because they have great people. They have great people. You hire good people, and you get great results. It's a three-legged stool at U.S. Pest. It's J.K., Erica. It's their fine people that work with them on a day-to-day basis, and it's you, the customer, and their interest is your interest, and that is to stop the existence of pests on your property. Those things that you don't want getting into your home, you need to be able to prevent them from getting in your home. Full-service pest control, including common Tennessee pests, termites, brown recluse spiders, ticks, fire ants, mice, roaches, and so much more. If you don't want them on your property, you have the ability to prevent that, and you do so through U.S. Pest. I mentioned termites and termite protection. Every house in Tennessee is threatened in some way by termites. You need to guarantee your safety and the safety for your home and your family. 100% money-back guarantee on the termite protection. Plus, they offer crawl-space service as well. If you refer someone to U.S. Pest, you get a $50 credit on your account. Refer a neighbor, a friend, or a family member to the one and only U.S. Pest. Go to uspesta.com or give them a call, 590-1260, 590-1260.
Well, the delay has vastly gone down in time. This crash there in Clarksville impacting 24 westbound past MLK Parkway. It's only a 30-minute delay now. It was near 2 hours about half an hour ago. Still working that crash there. And here witnesses describe the moment a drunk driver plowed into people in downtown Nashville last night. That's coming up at 1:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you much, Ken Weaver. It is 25 minutes after the hour. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Jay StClair is our good friend, gambling buddy, and legal correspondent. If you have any legal questions, you can ask. And even without asking, several of them have come in on the Super Text line. We'll get to those coming up in just a moment. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. All of your questions of a legal nature and otherwise will be answered by my man, Jay StClair. So, what's it, before I go any further, what's it like knowing that somebody's going to be playing you in a movie?
Well, we've been talking about this for years, man, because I think the decision was 2007. So, they've been talking about making it into a movie for over 10 years. So by now it's, kind of old hat. But when it first happened, it was very funny because we had a lot of conversation. Well, who do you want to play you? Right? I mean, that's the first thing. And I said, well, look, I'm the company lawyer. They're not going to make me a likable person.
Right.
Or an attractive person, right? And I'd love for it to be Warren Beatty, but it'll probably be Ned Beatty, reprising his role. What's the
you got Weaver with that one, Jay. That's pretty.
Yeah.
You'd like for it to be Warren, but it's probably going to be Ned.
Ned Beatty, that's right. Just like he was in Deliverance. But the best one that I heard, and I would have really liked this, but it's not a high budget movie, so they don't have these. But Tommy Lee Jones.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Tommy Lee would have been great for you.
That'd been perfect. Yeah. It'd been absolutely perfect because he's not very good looking, and neither am I. But I think he's Southern. If he didn't, he missed his chance. And I think our mannerisms are kind of similar. So,
what do you think of Darren?
I'm sorry.
What do you think of Darren as the guy that's going to play you?
I don't know anything about him. Apparently, he's a doctor in a soap opera.
General Hospital.
So generally they pick pretty people to do that. So I guess that's okay. But it's like people. One of my partners who's really funny. She's the one that let me know all this is going on. And she says, well, I can't wait to hear him mangle your accent.
That's exactly what we talked about last hour. I kind of previewed you coming on, and I mentioned that you were about to have somebody play you in a movie. And if they pick somebody north of the Mason-Dixon line, they're just going to your accent's very distinct anyway.
Well, and it's funny you said that because when she wrote me that, I wrote back and said, do you think I have an accent?
I told the story. Didn't you tell me one time when you went to Yale and people started commenting on your accent and you're like, I don't have an accent. Y'all have got an accent.
No, I don't have an accent. I sound like everybody I know sounds. I sound like Walter Cronkite.
So before we get away from it, so the mischaracterization of this was probably intentional on the part of the mainstream media, and you can't really control what the media does with these types of things. But you spent the better part of a decade trying to remind people that this wasn't a case about pay discrimination. Because pay discrimination, you've taught me this, Jay, is currently based on sex. Is pay discrimination not illegal based on sex?
Let me think here for a minute. This is what, 2014, so 63, 73, 83, 93, 2003, 2013. It's been illegal for 61 years. It was made illegal in 1963, man.
Wow.
So this case was not about whether you can pay men and women differently. This case was about how long can you wait to sue and claim wage discrimination. And not surprisingly, the court said, well, you can't wait 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's not fair to the company. Right? The reason you have statutes of limitations is that claims grow stale. One of the key witnesses in this case, in fact, a man that she claimed the judge let everything into evidence. So she claimed this guy sexually harassed her, and that got into evidence. Well, he was dead. We couldn't call him to say, no, I didn't.
Right.
And so that's why you have statutes limited. And I learned this a long time ago, man. In the technicalities of the law lies the defense of the innocent.
Mm-hmm. That's what. Well, yeah,
not above winning the case on a technicality.
Well, and there's another aspect of this that kind of ingrained itself into popular culture discussion at the time, and that was this mystery note. I'm going to ask you about this mystery note in a second because I know you love this one because everybody talks about, she found this note where she got told that she didn't know that she was getting paid differently, but then an anonymous note was left. We'll get into that in a moment. Plus, many of your questions firing in on the Super Text line, and we'll get to all of those, 615-737-9986. It's Friday on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
1:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. That crash in Clarksville impacting 24 westbound at MLK's down to a 24-minute delay. And we're following something right now in West Nashville. This happening a little over an hour and a half ago. News 2 says someone was shot multiple times while riding in a vehicle in West Nashville. This, according to police, happened around noon in the 4,000 block of Murphy Road. One person at the hospital now. Police say the victim was in a vehicle along Charlotte Pike near 46th Avenue North. When another vehicle pulled up, someone in that vehicle started shooting into the first vehicle. A judge in former President Donald Trump's 2020 election interference case has released 1,889 pages of heavily redacted records. There are documents which special counsel Jack Smith used to build the case. Reports say they, again, are very heavily redacted. In fact, some pages are blank because they're under seal. And here in Nashville, this woman may never be the same after witnessing a drunk driver plow into people in downtown last night.
Waiting for the walkie sign off the curb where I should not have been. The car literally just blew through 4th and Commerce. Came up on the curb and hit three ladies here and then on down another male. Never expect this on a Thursday night in Nashville.
Now, police say a 66-year-old man visiting from Wisconsin is the one who hit his head and died. 4 others were rushed to the hospital. They're all expected to be okay. Police arrested 25-year-old John Williams, whose birthday was yesterday. He allegedly had several bottles of tequila in his car. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Friends, Paul Winkler, first, foremost, and last, wants to educate you on every single investment that you're going to make because it's your money and you need to be sure that your money's being invested wisely. It's why he relies on the education process so much. He's so smart in this regard because it gives us comfort and peace of mind. Now, one of the aspects of this education is to remind you that Paul Winkler will never offer you an opportunity to have a deferred annuity. Why? Because they're bad news. They're bad news. It's important to mention these commissions that are paid on deferred annuities. It's sad, but so many people buy into these annuities, they're almost never used for the purpose for which they were designed, which is paying out a lifetime income. Because advisors sell this stuff as a feature, as the reason to buy it, and Paul simply does not use it. And you need to find out more. If you're thinking about a deferred annuity, please call Paul Winkler and get the education that you deserve to make sure that you understand exactly what you are doing. Friends, Paul Winkler educates me on a daily basis, on a regular basis. I'm a client of Paul's. I'm also a spokesperson. I get paid to talk about Paul Winkler on the radio, but I do not get paid to be a client of his, and I love how he does his business. Invest the right way. Invest through education. Invest with Paul Winkler. Go to paulwinkler.com or 615-851-1950, 851-1950. There are ways that you can invest that make sense for you and your family. There's also ways that you can spend your money that make sense for your family when it comes to benefiting your community. And frankly, folks, you don't have to wait until November to start taking our country back. We can get into the fight right now with Coin. It is the conservatives' credit card. Instead of funneling millions of dollars, because what happens, you spend your money, you pay your interest rates like we do on credit cards, and that's all well and good. Well, that money then goes to woke causes through most of these credit card companies. Let's not do that. Let's go to Coin. They advance conservative values, they give to conservative charity, and they don't give to these woke organizations. Earn cash back while fighting back. Apply now at coin.com. Spell it COIGN.com. Coin.com. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Matt Murphy and you. Jay StClair is with us. We're in the midst of Friday. We'll get to your calls momentarily. Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 615-737-9986. Oh, this is so sweet. Kathy has written in, Jay, and she says, I love Tommy Lee Jones, but he's way too old to play Jay. Well, that's the thing. Isn't that nice? That's nice.
Is that Kathy?
That was Kathy. That's what she said.
Kathy, thank you. You made my day.
For those just joining us, 1088 says, what movie are we talking about? It's a movie that's coming out, I don't know, later on this year. It's called Lily.
It's out.
Oh, is it out?
It's already, yeah, the premiere was last weekend.
Oh, well, I got to go.
So it should be on the internet soon. We got to have a watch party.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. See what I see. I was just looking at the cast, and it's funny because, a lot of these folks are like D.C. people. And I guess once it graduates to the Supreme Court, they're going to focus on the guy that argued in front of the court. But I see U.W. Clement has been cast. Was that your judge in this case?
Oh, no, absolutely. That's one of the cases got to the Supreme Court.
I can't, two things. I can't believe we hadn't talked about this before. But two, it makes a lot more sense why you lost.
No, absolutely. Don't get me wrong, I love Judge Clement, a great guy. We have a good personal relationship. But, boy, when he got on the bench,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a different world, I imagine.
Right.
Well, Jay, real quick before I get to questions from the audience, you have fought this mystery letter for a long time, right? I mean, wasn't it argued? She publicly argued, and Lily Ledbetter's passed on now, and rest in peace, Lily Ledbetter, and I hope her family's okay, and all of those things. But she regularly on the talk show circuit talked about this mysterious note that she received. Tell me about this note.
Yeah, well, she claims that the reason she waited so long to bring her claims is she did not know she was being paid less than other people. And the only way she found out about it is one day she went to her desk, and right there on her desk was an anonymous note that showed the wages of all of her peers and hers. She knew what hers was, and she said it was only then that I knew the truth. And so I filed the case as soon as I could have.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, she's told that story many times, man. But you know one place she did not tell that story?
Where's that?
At the trial.
In court?
In court. Or in her sworn testimony before the trial. She never said that under oath, man. It never was told. That was, I'm just going to say that was a fiction that began only after she lost the case.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't argue that in the Supreme Court.
So this idea of this anonymous mystery note never came up until after everything was decided.
That's right. And so what happens is, it makes them the national news, and the first law Obama passed reversed that case. So there's all those stories about it, and that's when she was talking about this note. And Glenn Kessler is the fact checker for the Washington Post.
Uh-huh.
And so he called me about it. And he said, hey, she's saying this about this. So what do you say? I said, well, Glenn, here's what I say. Where's the note?
Yeah, ask her about the note. Where did she take the note?
He went silent for about 20 seconds. He said, Jay, that's a pretty good question. I said, yeah, well, ask her where the note is. And so we hang up. 20 minutes later, he calls him back. He says, well, she threw it away. Really? So Rosa Parks has the bench in the bus where she makes history, and she throws it away.
Wait, so you're saying that I just got an anonymous note on my seat telling me that I have been underpaid for 19 years, giving me this incredibly valuable information that I had no idea. I had no idea this was going on, and now I've got this information. They have been undervaluing me because I'm a woman for the almost 2 decades.
I have found the Holy Grail.
And I'm just going to toss that out.
I just throw it away.
And not only toss it out, Jay, but I'm not going to bring it up in my sworn deposition.
Right.
We're not going to bring it up in trial.
Yeah.
We're not going to bring it up on appeal.
Yeah.
We're not going to bring it up at the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Yet, what is it? 14 years later, you get asked about that note.
Well, that's what the lead of this movie is.
Oh, I guarantee you that note is all over this movie.
Absolutely. Well, where's the note? It should be in the Smithsonian.
Well, that's right. I mean, well, and it leads us, you mentioned it, the thing that Obama, and the media sadly mischaracterized that as well, and you and I talked a lot about it at the time that it was going on, but the legislation, the Lilly Ledbetter Act, did what, to your understanding, Jay?
Well, I'll tell you exactly what it did. It's called the Paycheck Accrual Rule, and what it says, Matt, is that you can challenge today any pay decision made any time in the past if it continues to have an effect on your pay today. That's a convoluted law. I practice law in this area. You know that a lot. That law has been on the books for 17 years. Guess how many cases I've had where that law made any difference?
Jay, based on my knowledge of you and based on the way that you asked that question, I'm going to guess 0.
You're getting to where you know me pretty well, don't you?
No
0, Matt. It made no real world difference because here's the deal, man. People don't wait 19 years to challenge a pay claim. They just don't do it. They don't wait 15 years. They don't wait 10 years. If they think they're being underpaid, if they think it's because of their sex or race or age, they challenge it right away. People know what everybody makes. I mean, come on. If you don't know it exactly, you know it pretty close. And if you think you're being discriminated against because of your sex or race or age, you know it. You feel it in your heart. You feel it in your soul. So it just does. This case was sui generis, and it was only because of Judge Clement. I hadn't thought about the fact we hadn't talked about that. Only Judge Clement would have let them try this case this way.
Yeah, because he just gave them kind of carte blanche at the trial level.
Yeah, no, that's right.
All right, Jay.
He's for plaintiffs. I mean, I love Judge Clement, but he's for plaintiffs.
Oh, sure. All right, Jay, a few questions before we have to let you go. 0036 out of Kentucky writes in and says, question for Jay. If I have a friend that owes the federal I love these friend questions, Jay. Yeah. I always love the friend question. This guy's got a friend that owes the federal government about $20,000 to the IRS. Yeah. Can said friend refinance his home or buy a home while he owes the government that amount of money?
Yeah, probably if they hadn't put a lien. The question is if they've gotten to the step of placing a lien, L-I-E-N, on any of your property. That's, the IRS is very powerful. They don't lay back. They have a lot of enforcement mechanisms. And one of them is they place a lien on your property. If they have done that, you cannot sell it until you satisfy the lien. If they haven't, then you can. You would have gotten notice of the lien when you got it.
That's a great answer. Yeah.
But let me say this. You didn't ask this, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. There are a lot of people out there who advise people about how to settle up with the IRS. I've never used them, but I know some people who have, and I think you ought to check into their services.
Yes.
You might be able to whittle that down a little bit.
Yes, it is an area that I would firmly recommend you find an expert that understands where the back doors are in order to get you better access to an individual that can perhaps get you a better deal. I mean, it is worth the money that you spend on the front end. It has been my experience. I've never experienced it personally, but I had one. I'll say his name, Perry Cronin, the Axiom Tax Resolution Group in Birmingham, as one of those organizations that I believe in. And I've long believed that is, much like you lawyers, it might cost you a little on the front, but it's going to save you a lot on the back end.
Yeah, but to answer your question, you just find out if they put a lien on it yet. If they hadn't, go sell that house in a hurry.
2305 writes in and says, my employer came up with a program to treat locations during COVID. I was given the task to work to disinfect facilities like office buildings during the COVID outbreak. My employer never offered me hazard pay. Am I crazy, or should they have paid me hazard pay?
There's nothing in the law that requires that. So the way you phrased the question, you said should have. Well, they're not required by law to do that. Boy, it would have been a great business practice. It would have been, I think, a really good thing to do as a business. But the law does not require that. Hazard pay is, it's not common. That only appears in very narrow circumstances. The only place I see it in my practice is I got a union contract. Well, Conrad's got a union contract, and it's for a cement plant. And some of the work in the cement plant is very hazardous, and they do pay a little bit extra for that. But it's not common, and there's no law that requires it.
Next up is Marie. She's on the phone out of Nashville. Marie, you're on with Jay StClair and the Matt Murphy Show. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, hi. Love you guys. I have a quick question. My mom's 85 years old, lives with me. She worked at, I don't want to say the location, but a Sam's Club for 2 years, was a great employee. She was in the apparel department, did a great job, got a lot of letters from people there, how good she was. Long story short, her lead guy, the supervisor, is a ex-military / so-called manager. And so the verbal abuse from him was pretty bad, and she did go to a couple of supervisors there and tell them. She went to HR, told them about the harassment that went on and on. And then about 6 months ago, he came up to her and said, I'm not allowed to talk to you unless there's 2 other people around. So after he wasn't allowed to talk with her, cuss at her, abuse her, then he started she was on the night shift with him, and he started taking the forklift, slamming stuff next to her while she was folding clothes because she was in the apparel department, 8-hour shifts. Long story short, it got to the point where she was coming home crying, breaking out in rashes, scared to death of him. And it just went on every shift. And then they hired another girl that would whisper with him. They would chat. And then he had this young girl actually following my mom to the point where she was following my mom into the restroom. Following her into the break room. So the harassment just went on and on. My mom several times told HR, and they never did anything to him at all. She finally wrote a final letter, and gave it to one of the managers, telling them she could no longer sustain the harassment, how scared she was of this ex-Marine that was working there. And the abuse just got so bad. So now she gave up $2,500 a month, which was a huge amount.
Did she quit?
Yes, she quit.
All right, she quit.
How long ago did she quit?
She quit. He's still there, and she is seeing a therapist now weekly. And she's scared to death. She closes all the windows, the shades, thinking he's, going to follow her. So it was just a bad situation. So I was just wondering what you suggest we do.
So I couldn't understand you. Is she still working there, or did she quit?
Oh, she quit. She wrote a long letter and submitted the letter.
How long ago, Marie? How long ago?
She quit. She quit in May.
Okay.
Uh-oh. Well, you need to go to the EOC. She needs to go to the EOC right away. It's June, July, August, September. She needs to go to the EOC right away and file a charge of discrimination. It'd be nice if she could talk to a lawyer first, but she's got to do that, real quick. The statute of limitations we were talking about earlier is running. She only has 180 days. Is she in Tennessee?
Yes. We're
outside. Call the EEOC and file a charge. In the meantime, be looking for an employment lawyer. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
Do it right away.
She's going
right away. Don't wait.
Yeah, but like Jay just said a couple of times, and I want to make sure you heard him, Marie, really quick, because you said the statute's 180 days, Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you get on it and call us back if you need any further assistance, or email me and I can get you in contact with Jay. Okay, Marie?
Can't find a lawyer you're happy with, get in touch with Matt or me, and we'll hook you up with somebody.
Okay, appreciate it so much. Yeah,
absolutely.
She was wonderful there. She had lots of letters from people saying how great she was.
Awful.
She showed up on time, but this one person for 2 straight years. Charging at her, attacking her. I mean, it was. I had to come in a few times.
I'm sorry she had to deal with that, but we're gonna get you some justice.
Yeah, Marie. And I mean, that's the first step is that you got to get it on record, right, Jay? At the EEOC.
Yeah, you got to file a charge.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. That's great advice, Jay. We are simply out of time, my friend. I've enjoyed it. I always do, and I love you, brother. You take care down there.
Love you, buddy.
All right, take care. There's Jay StClair. Woo, we got out of there without him singing Rocky Top, which is a big deal for Alabama Hate Week. It's 53 after the hour on Super Talk. Hello, friends. It's Matt Murphy, Efficient Heating and Cooling. I tell you what, Jeff Eddy is busy as a beaver getting with people like you and helping maintenance your heating units because it's cool. Oh, my goodness gracious. It's getting cool outside, and we have the heaters on, right? And if you've turned your heater on and you've not maintained, you've probably smelled that smell. Let's not do that. Let's get with Jeff Eddy in Efficient Heating and Cooling and allow him to go over that thing from tip to stern, make sure that everything is running as it should, make sure that it's going to run throughout the winter months, make sure that there aren't any issues that you need to be aware of. Now, if you are If you're experiencing a heater that's on its last legs, Jeff Eddy can advise you. They're an elite pro partner with Rheem. They can help you make an appropriate decision about what the next unit should be. Plus, they can finance. They can help you with that. And they are an elite pro partner with Rheem, as mentioned. EfficientHVAC.net. That's EfficientHVAC.net or 615-784-4424. 784-4424 for Efficient.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Did you know you're overpaying for your health and wellness products? With over 20 company-owned brands offering its members vitamins, supplements, wellness, and skincare products, you're able to save up to 70% off retail.
Members Nutrition can't change your life, but we can change the way you live.
Two o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories on this Friday afternoon. Full forecast, and I'll give you a traffic update, too, here in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, images from the scene show bullet holes in the side of a small car in West Nashville. Police say someone in another car pulled up, started firing shots into another car as they were driving near Charlotte and 46th Avenue. A passenger in the car that was targeted was driven to Vanderbilt University Medical Center for treatment of gunshot wounds or a wound. His condition's not known. This call came in shortly after noon today. Channel 4 says witnesses to last night's fatal DUI crash downtown may never be the same.
I've never experienced anything like this before, not to this magnitude. I live in Orlando, a country quiet town. Never expect to see something like this.
Yeah, she says she watched as a speeding car blew through a red light at 4th and Commerce and then ran over 4 people. They were in town for a wedding, and one of them died. 25-year-old John Williams, whose birthday was yesterday, was arrested. Court documents show there were multiple bottles of tequila in the car he was driving. Election 2024, some issues have been reported at early voting polling locations in Nashville. News 2 says a Metro Council member posted to social media when she went to punch one candidate's name, another candidate's name lit up instead. She says it took a few tries before the machine got it right. Elections Administrator Jeff Roberts says it can happen when using your finger, so stir sticks have since been provided to all early voting locations in Nashville, and he says those stir sticks will be available on Election Day, too. Safety changes coming to Metro Parks after the murder of a jogger in Antioch Monday evening. Metro Parks say they already use data to send patrols to areas that need it most, but now they're going to step up bicycle and UTV patrols along greenways. The Metro Council member for the area of Antioch where the random murder took place says he's pushing for lights, license plate reader cameras, and gates to be installed to the greenways that close after dark. One person's recovering from an injury on board a Spirit Airlines flight today.
The Spirit Airlines flight from Chicago O'Hare to LAX hit turbulence while flying, injuring at least one person. The LA Fire Department says it was told it was 6 to 8 people before the plane landed, but once on the ground, nobody needed hospital attention. And the airport says it was just one injury treated at the gate. Southern California is getting rocked by strong Santa Ana wind. It's unclear if the Santa Anas played a role in creating the turbulence. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Yeah, much of California is under extreme fire warnings today because of those high winds. Super dry. Power's been shut off to some areas in California to prevent wildfires in case lines come down in the wind. That's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Defend Systems is a life safety and security consultation firm based right here in Middle Tennessee. They specialize in physical security consultation and active violence mitigation. That is a fancy way of saying they help you make your place of business, your school, your church a safer place to live, to do business, to worship, or to learn. That's what it's all about, folks, is making sure that we're as safe as humanly possible in a dangerously developing world. They do things like active shooter response training, workplace violence prevention, site surveys, threat assessment, security improvement consultation, all developed and designed specifically for your facility, whether it's a church, a school, a place of business, or a place where people gather. It is simply a necessity in this dangerous world. Hope is not a plan. It is time to get trained, friends, with Defend Systems. Give Brink or one of his teammates a call, Tracy or Gloria. They'd love to speak with you at 615-236-6484, 236-6484, or go online to defendsystems.com. Tell them Matt Murphy sent you to Defend Systems. If you have the ability, Bell K, I know I'm asking a lot of you in there, but can you switch over to the monitor that I'm on in here? You know the one I'm normally on, right?
I mean, frankly, it's an honor. I've got a lot of endorsements from Arab Americans, from a lot of people, so that's a great honor.
Do you think it'll move the needle for Arab Americans?
Well, I don't think they're going to be voting for her because she doesn't know what she's doing, so I don't see them voting for her. I don't see a lot of people voting for her. She's not a smart person.
Mr. President, will you release your health records?
Yeah, my health records, I've done 5 exams over the last 4 years. You've got them all. Obviously, I'm in the middle of a very big and very contentious fight. We're leading. I've given my health exams. I've also done cognitive tests twice, and I've aced them, meaning a perfect score. I want to see her do a cognitive test because she couldn't ace because she wasn't born smart. All right, thank you, everybody.
All right, there he goes. He's leaving. Hey, did he say she wasn't born smart?
Yes.
That was the quote.
That's the former president of the United States.
Well, I mean, the mainstream media is hung up on this this physical examination. I find it interesting, Ken, and you correct me if I'm wrong. You're back there in the newsroom. You're gathering headlines. You're in the grind every day.
Yeah.
Did we hear a lot when Joe Biden was the candidate? Did we hear a lot about demands for physical examinations and the results of health examinations while Joe Biden was the candidate? I don't remember that.
I don't remember it either. I just don't.
I find it interesting that the mainstream media focuses on things. I don't know, folks. It seems to me that they focus on things that might be of benefit to one particular candidate over another. I know it's hard. It's hard to believe. I know it's difficult to believe. She's not a very smart person, by the way, but you already do that. Donald Trump. I was telling Bell the best line that Donald Trump had last night, I can't actually play because in order to play, I'm talking about the Al Smith dinner. I'm about to play you a couple of clips from this thing. If you missed it last night, it's so delicious. But the best line he delivered was about Bill de Blasio. He said, "I'm surprised Bill de Blasio was able to make it tonight. I don't," and people was kind of like, "Oh," and he goes, "I don't care. He was a terrible mayor." And then he said, "I don't give a bleep if this is comedy or not. He was a terrible mayor. He did a horrible job." And he said the word. This is a guy, talk about not giving a bleep.
Yeah.
I mean,
what he did to Chuck Schumer.
Oh,
I'm telling you.
He told Chuck.
I'm telling you, man. And here's the thing. I don't even think Trump needs writers. I think he can come up with this stuff on his own and probably on the fly.
He had a great line, though. He softened. One of his classic blows last night was the line that he delivered about it was about Kamala Harris, and he did one on the nannies with Doug and the nannies. And then later on, he said, "Who writes this stuff?" He's, "Oh, that's a nasty one. That's a nasty one. These idiots who give me this stuff." He's like,
"Yeah."
So what was Schumer's reaction when he was standing there roasting him?
Sitting there hunched over, kind of giggling.
Oh, he was giggling?
I mean, Schumer seemed to have a
sense of humor about it,
a decent nature about it, I suppose.
Well, he's been in business long enough; he gets it. I mean, it's politicking, man.
This is what I mean. He had a lot of zingers. And she made a complete tactical error not showing up because she didn't have the opportunity to respond to zingers like this. The telephone. Oh, and then there was this one.
That was brilliant.
He can't be here, but he'll say that he was.
Oh.
Oh, but he wasn't done with Tim Walz. He had one more zinger for.
Wow.
Man.
Oh, that's so funny. That's so funny. And I always thought so. I thought that Jim Gaffigan was a real hard leftist. But he was MC of this thing, and I thought he was laughing right along. He was sitting there on the dais. He seemed to be having a good time. He was laughing along with these jokes. Maybe he agreed to MC the thing. I mean, I understand he's a Catholic man, and obviously he wants to support the Al Smith Foundation, which is a Catholic-based charity. But maybe he agreed to do this at a time where he thought Kamala Harris would be a part of it, but he was pretty good. They're called the Biden family.
That's a little on the nose.
It's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then he went on to get. So he didn't get a lot of laughs, and I think he didn't get a lot of laughs because, I mean, this audience at the Al Smith dinner, if you don't know about this, it's been going on for a long, long time, and presidential candidates, I want to say, and this is just pulling it out of our memory, so don't hold me to this, that it started when John F. Kennedy was running for president. He was obviously the first Catholic president, and there was a lot of concern back in the day that John F. Kennedy would answer to the Pope as opposed to the Constitution. Obviously, that wasn't the case. That said, I want to say that these Al Smith charitable dinners started then. They only happen once every 4 years on presidential election years, and both presidential candidates since the beginning of them have come to these things, and they are commonly, they're a roast. I mean, that you're going to be made fun of. You know that you're going to have an opportunity to make fun of others, including Donald Trump and whomever happens to be there. So there is a mixed bag of individuals in that room. And I would say that was a funny joke about the Democrats, but it did not land. You notice that there wasn't a lot of laughter or applause, and I think it was because it hit too close to home. Jim Gaffigan was a little too close to the truth. He said the Democrats have been telling us Trump's reelection is a threat to democracy. In fact, they're so concerned with the threat to democracy, they staged a coup, ousted their democratically elected incumbent, and installed Kamala Harris. And it was kind of like, that's true. We really did that.
Oops.
Oopsie.
Cardinal Francis Spellman founded and hosted the first dinner in 1945.
Oh, wow. There you go. How about that? Donald Trump was there, and he had the jokes, baby. It's a pleasure to be anywhere in New York without a subpoena for my appearance. There's Donald Trump. There's a lot of zingers from last night. Let me see if I've got one or two more. He actually said that he had to cut his appearance short. He was talking about the mayor of New York City. So it's obvious that Trump has speechwriters, and he's like delivering the jokes that he's never read before. So you have to applaud him for that. He also had a few comments to make about The View, which is pretty good. I don't know why this gets me so much.
Kamala Harris was the first presidential candidate to skip it since Walter Mondale.
Walter Mondale.
And he got his ass handed to him.
Well, they did. I mean, Walter Mondale. I think Walter Mondale won Minnesota, and that was it.
And D.C. He had 3 electoral votes when the count was done, and that's only 3 more than I had, and I didn't even run.
Well, that's true. You did fairly well by comparison. And this was one of my. There's Donald Trump at the Al Smith dinner. Now, Kamala Harris is out on the campaign trail today, suggesting that Donald Trump is mentally and physically exhausted. Oh, by the way, before I get away from it, actually, before I go to those clips, Bell, you know our favorite is back on CNN, right?
The potato?
The potato.
Yes.
Is back on CNN. Brian Stelter, the potato, the man looks like a potato in human form, is back on CNN. And in the aftermath of Donald Trump making an appearance at the charitable event and being very funny, and Kamala Harris staying on the campaign trail and deciding not to go, first candidate since Walter Mondale to skip the thing, and we see how that turned out for him, there was a roundtable offering their analysis of how Donald Trump did. Listen to this. So the potato offering that's a home run if the potato's on your side.
Oh, without a doubt. Absolutely.
Because I know that he doesn't take any pleasure in actually giving kudos to Donald Trump for just about anything. So Donald Trump is going to McDonald's later on today or sometime this weekend, it's my understanding. He's going to Detroit, Michigan later on tonight. He was a part of a Q&A on Fox and Friends early this morning in New York City. He also did Dan Bongino's show early this morning in New York City. I think he did a total of 3 separate interview sit-downs in New York today, in addition to the Al Smith dinner last night. But Kamala Harris would like you to know that Donald Trump is, he is exhausted. Okay, so this is pathetic in the highest order. It's pathetic on the highest levels. So, one, Donald Trump's campaign team have not said that he is doing anything as a result of exhaustion. Number two, he's not canceling any interviews. Number three, he is not ducking anything from anybody. He does not want to do a debate with a loaded front in front of him, and he's decided not to do a debate on ABC, not to do a debate on NBC, not to do a debate on CNN, because these are not organizations that are objective. They are organizations that have cast their lot with Kamala Harris, and it would be an unfair fight.
The whole thing about the exhaustion in the campaign, and this is all created from the DNC. It's a distributed talking point that they've sent out to their Twitter influencers, that they've had them tweeting out all day long, hoping it gets traction. But that's literally something they came up with to get their agents in social media to start talking about. They're paying them to say that.
Right. Yeah, they're literally, as Bell says, getting paid to create and manifest an absolute lie in the 18 days left. I mean, the desperation will only ratchet up over the next 2.5 weeks. We'll watch it in real time, and we'll report in real time. If you have a thought or a comment, 615-737-9986. We'll continue to break it down for you on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Did you know you're funding America's future? In a way, you are, in fact, funding America's future. And it's not the future that you want for you or your kids. A lot of major credit card companies funnel millions of dollars to liberal causes and candidates, and they hope that you don't notice. Well, we have taken a notice, and we need to take a stand and get the woke out of our wallet. Coin is America's conservative credit card. You earn cash back while advancing a conservative future and a conservative ideology. Apply now at coin.com. Now spell it this way, COIGN.com. COIGN.com. Coin.com. Terms apply. Go to coin.com/disclosures for full details.
Investigation in West Nashville after a car pulls up to another car and shots are fired. Details at 2:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So Donald Trump, I mentioned he's going to McDonald's. By the way, it's the Matt Murphy Show. We're here till 3 o'clock. Ken Weaver's in the newsroom. He's gathering headlines for that 2:30 broadcast. We're here in the studio. Bell K's behind the glass. You don't see Bell because he's headless. He chooses not to participate on the television side of things, but that's A-okay. You can participate. By the way, I always forget to mention that I beg of you to do this. If you go over to the YouTubes or the Facebooks, or the Twitters. I don't know if Twitch has a thumbs up or a like button, but if they have one, would you give us the old thumbs up and the like? Would you do that? I mean, you can subscribe if you want. I would appreciate that as well. Thank you for doing that. All you have to, I mean, it's no skin off your nose. I mean, what is it? It's a one click. Boop. That's all. That's all you have to do. Free to you, free to me. Come on. Let's get it done. Just give it a like. And if you're over on the Twitter machine and you want to like my little page. By the way, I don't understand how this happened, but I posted something about the Bret Baier interview that got like 240,000 impressions. It got more impressions. I think what happened is Donald Trump retweeted it. Donald Trump Jr., not Senior, Jr.
Your tweet? He retweeted your tweet?
I think he did, or he liked it, because I know Trump Jr. follows me. Donald Trump promised to follow me way back, and he never did. But that's all well and good. But Trump Jr. does follow me. And I think he retweeted or liked a tweet that I did regarding Bret Baier and how difficult it is to be in the confines of one of those interviews where they're compressing you on time and you've got to get all of these questions out. And I got 200,000 impressions on this tweet, and somehow it lost me 40 followers. I don't know how that works. I don't understand how any of it works. If I understood how any of it works, I would have more than 15,000 followers or whatever I have. But if you want to follow me, I promise you I'm a hoot. And occasionally I demonstrate the fact that buzzed tweeting is drunk tweeting. That happens sometimes. If you want a delight of a couple of hours on a Saturday during a football season, I encourage you to follow me on Twitter, or the X machine as we call it. I'm at Matt Murphy Show, at Matt Murphy Show. And then when Georgia football takes the field, watch my Twitter feed. I do not hold back, Ken Weaver.
No, sir.
And I am just a wide range of emotions. We go from really, really high to really, really low, really, really quickly during the course of a football game. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to enjoy some real emotional tweeting, just follow me on the Twitter machine, and you will. You'll see that those emotions. I wear them on my sleeve as I wear my G on my chest. Okay, in a moment we'll tell you where Trump's going to be over the weekend. He's going to the fry machine at McDonald's. He says he's doing it because he thinks Kamala Harris lied when she said she worked there. He wants to see how hard it is. We'll play you that clip in just a moment. It's 30 after the hour on Super Talk.
2:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. And right now in Nashville, Metro Police are investigating after shots were fired into a car going down the road near Charlotte Avenue and 46th Avenue. Happened shortly after noon today. A passenger in a vehicle was driven to Vanderbilt University Medical Center for treatment. Images from the scene show a car with several bullet holes. Election 2024, both presidential campaigns are in Michigan today. Former President Trump was asked about his medical records before getting on the plane.
You've got them all. Obviously, I'm in the middle of a very big and very contentious fight. We're leading. I've given my health exams. I've also done cognitive tests twice, and I've aced them, meaning a perfect score. I want to see her do a cognitive test because she couldn't ace because she wasn't born smart.
Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris already in Michigan, speaking at a rally in Riverside Park in Grand Rapids.
He is ducking debates and canceling interviews.
Now, former President Trump's going to do a roundtable discussion on building America's future in Auburn Hills, Michigan, in about an hour and a half. Hurricane Helene recovery update. Governor Bill Lee telling reporters in Knoxville about the timeline for partially reopening I-40 in Cott County.
We're trying to get the Tennessee side of the interstate open, and we believe that'll happen in the next few days. There is a priority been given to this, obviously. We have already received $32 million in immediate funding from the federal government, and we think that'll be just the beginning.
North Carolina's side of 40 will stay closed indefinitely. And that's the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hello, friends. Matt Murphy for Tennessee Men's Clinic. Tennessee Men's Clinic started in 2014 in Midtown Nashville. They have since opened a secondary location in Franklin. More on that in just a moment. What do they do at Tennessee Men's Clinic? Well, they focus on men's health, specifically on your energy levels. More specifically, and oftentimes, this manifests itself as a lack of interest or activity in the bedroom. If you've lost intimacy with your significant other, it can cause problems down the road. Men, let's not whistle past this graveyard. Let's get this handled through the Tennessee Men's Clinic. It takes a visit. It takes a consultation. They're going to check some levels in your body. They're going to find out what's happening with your T levels and whatnot. And then they're going to give you a treatment of success. And they've got a variety of options available at their fingertips. Let's get this handled, man. Let's get back to an energetic lifestyle, a lifestyle including intimacy with that significant other through the Tennessee Men's Clinic. As I mentioned, 2 locations, Franklin and in Midtown. Let's go and make that scheduled appointment today. TennesseeMen'sClinic.com, or here's the number, 615-208-9090, 208-9090. Hello, folks. Matt Murphy here for Savory Spice. Savory Spice has 2 locations. One, Charlotte Pike, L&L Market. They'd love to see you over there. The second location is in Franklin, Tennessee, just off the square next to Gray's Pharmacy. Folks, I encourage you to go to Savory Spice for all of your spice needs. Whatever your level of expertise is in the kitchen, you deserve Savory Spice in your life and in your kitchen and in your cupboard. Don't use those old clumpy spices that have been in there for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. You're not going to get the same quality of food that you get with Savory Spice. And oh, by the way, Holly and David, they've got the Spice and Easy line, which is great for the inexperienced cook. If you're looking to cook something for the family and you don't know what to do, go to Savory Spice and they can help you out with that. They also have great grilling tips, tailgating tips. I mean, it's football tailgating season after all, so they got some great spices to go on, burgers and chops and the like. And then, of course, it is fall, and pumpkin pie spice is in the house. That's right. For all of your pumpkin pie spice needs, you need to go to Savory Spice. Once again, 2 locations in the square in Franklin and on Charlotte Pike, L&L Market. Be sure to tell Holly, David, and the rest of the crew that you heard about them from Matt Murphy on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Yes, indeed. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Winding down our week. Handing off to Brian Wilson in the drive coming up in mere moments. Can't wait for that, and we'll call it a weekend. And man, oh man, I'm excited about this weekend, boys. I'm excited about this weekend. Ken Weaver, we try not to talk too much football on this radio show.
Football!
But I am as excited as can be. Ken Weaver, I'm going to ask for your expert. This is where Ken Weaver shines, right? When you ask Ken Weaver, hey, what about this politics and that politics? Ken Weaver says, I just do the news.
I just do the news, boys.
But now it's time to talk a little football.
I will talk football.
What chance do you give my beloved Georgia Bulldogs against the nasty thank you, Bell. Thank you, Bell. Let's go! Come on! We can't have – everybody should be Georgia fans. We can't have these stinky old Longhorns who think they're better than everybody else roughing up the SEC like this, man. We need to show them a little humility, Ken. What chance do you give my team?
I give you a 50-50 chance. I'm right down the middle.
It's a 50-50.
It's like it's a news story.
I know. It's like I asked him who's going to win the presidential election. Well, one of 2 people.
One of 2 people will win the election.
Weaver says, Murphy, I guarantee you that at the end of the football contest, you'll have a winner.
No, man, I mean, it's going to come down to, look, I mean, both the Dogs and the Horns have similar athletes. I think you guys match up very well with each other. It's going to come down to a critical mistake or a turnover, kind of like every other football game does.
Yeah, I listen to, in our off time, I like to listen to these sports experts. Mm-hmm. And every single one of them at a big game like this, like you could say exactly the same thing about Alabama, Tennessee, that you can about Georgia and Texas, that you could about Oregon and Ohio State, that you could about Alabama. And whatever the matchup is, here it is, Ken. You ready?
I'm ready.
It comes down to turnovers and explosive plays.
Yeah. Pushing the ball down the field.
Right. Whoever is able to matriculate the ball down the field with more efficacy than the other squad, I predict that team will come out victorious. Man, we could do that. We could have us a how do you say it? A football show on the weekends. Huh?
I will say this about the Vols, though. I think they've lost a little steam since the start of the season.
And we're about to find out because I don't know. I mean, whether it's the Bulldogs outside of Texas, I don't know of a team that has looked solid from the beginning of the season till now. Alabama, obviously, against Vanderbilt, they were a little bit exposed. Tennessee, their offense is kind of puttering around. Ken,
yeah, it's ever since the Oklahoma game. They have not. I mean, and again, starting out the season with some of the competition they had, you expect the Vols to score half 100, but since then they have not, and they've had some issues. It seems to me, and I'm no expert, but it seems to me their receivers are not getting open. And Nico is having to sit back there, and he's having to start trying to pick up first downs with his legs. And I think there's a lot of coverage, a lot of good coverage teams out there that are covering those Vols receivers. They're not getting open.
Am I saying? Let me see if I can say his last name. Iamaleava. Iamaleava.
Yeah, Iamaleava.
Iamaleava.
Nico Iamaleava.
Man, like a professional newsman. So I predict. Here's what I predict over the weekend: Tennessee, Alabama. Tennessee is going to win that game because it's at home.
Okay,
I predict that. I predict Payne for Texas, Georgia. Oklahoma is going to beat South Carolina by a touchdown.
I don't know about that.
I do. I have faith in the Sooners.
Well, it's going to be a pick six if it is.
Poor kid.
I'm telling you, man.
Poor kid's he's got like battered wife syndrome. He's like, don't let her offense back on the field.
I've watched this team for 56 years. Even in the low times of the mid-'90s, I've never seen an Oklahoma offense this incapable of competing.
You said this last weekend, and I've watched more Oklahoma football than I ever have because of you, Ken. And because they're in the SEC.
I'm sorry about that.
Well, no, it's all good. I feel somewhat responsible because at the beginning of the season when that Arnold kid was on the field, I texted Weaver and I said, it was like the first game of the season. I said, I think this Arnold kid's pretty good. I don't think he's completed a pass since.
He hasn't played.
So you jinxed it? You were the jinx?
I just said, hey, I thought he looked pretty good. Whatever game they were playing, I thought, well, this kid let's support my stablemate over it. Let me hit Weaver up. And I got my phone out, and I said, Ken, this Arnold guy looks pretty good. And, and he's thrown like 28 interceptions since then or something like that.
Well, we got the backup in now, and he's got the turnover bug too. What is coming down to, and I'm sorry I'm boring everybody with Sooner talk, but it's therapeutic for me. Our offense is we are not athletically capable of competing with the top-tier SEC teams. And Texas was a measuring point, and we are apparently far from being able to compete offensively at that level.
The Oklahoma Brent Venable needs to bring in Ken as a motivational speaker for the team.
Well, I've already threatened to wear a real tight pair of gray shorts, pull some maroon striped socks up to my knees, and go down there and make them run gassers.
Get you a whistle.
Yes.
Get you a nice whistle. I'm just imagining Ken saying what he just said to all of us in front of the team. Men, we are not physically or mentally able to compete.
No.
It's as simple as that.
They're not. They are not.
I think you'll beat those Gamecocks.
We'll see.
Well,
I'm telling you, Gamecocks right now, they are the best 3-3 team in the nation.
Well, y'all are 4-2, right?
Yeah.
4-2. 4-2. Hey, 4-2 is better than 2-4.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Look at our schedule moving forward, dude.
It's tough. Well, I'm trying to lift. Y'all see what I'm doing, right? I'm trying to lift Weaver up. I'm trying to get him built up for the game. I'm trying to lift him up.
I'm telling you, dude, I'm going to get hypnotized.
Give him a little bit of hope.
All I'm going to want to do on Saturday is crochet.
Football? What's football? What's a football?
I'm going to go offer to walk people's dogs.
Anything.
Anything.
You go clean the Mandis's pool.
Well, I'll end up swimming in it.
That's true. All right.
Dan would never allow that.
Oh, no. Well, Dan was sitting in his hot tub and watch. That's what Mandis does.
Like, he has his shirt off. Get him out of the water.
Let's back to politicking. President Donald Trump is going to McDonald's, and he says he's in for a big time. He wants to go to McDonald's. Well, let's just let him tell the story.
Either today or tomorrow, you're going to McDonald's. You're going to be working the fryer. Are you going to wear the paper hat?
I'm going to do everything. I tell you what.
You're going to do it.
A friend of mine
He is
owns
going to do it.
McDonald's someplace. Oh, I'm going. Because she lied.
You don't think she ever worked at McDonald's?
I know she did. We checked it out. Unless somebody comes up with something. We checked it out. They said she never worked here. She even picked the store. We went to the manager. The manager's been there forever. Do you remember her? No, she never worked here. They know. Okay.
No, so will you wear the paper hat?
Yes, and you know who else stopped talking about the press? If I said I worked at McDonald's.
By the way, Ducey will not give up the paper hat ask. I mean, he's begging for the paper hat.
And it turned out not to be true.
This would be the biggest story
the
ever.
Front page of that stupid New York Times, the worst paper. It is the worst rag. The New York Times is the worst, most. They would have me front page for months. Nobody, I can't get any. That's why I have to do it myself. That's why I'm doing it.
So you're going to get trained and you're going to make French fries.
I don't know how much the training will be.
Not too much salt.
It's not going to be. Oh.
Just not that much.
I love that show.
Oh, see, Ducey, get out of there, Ducey. You going to wear the paper hat? Not too much salt. You got to have salt on the French fries at McDonald's.
Look,
Come on.
If you're going to McDonald's to eat, the salt is irrelevant.
Well, but you got to have some salt on the fries.
You got to have a lot of salt. You got to have a lot of grease. You got to have a lot of oil. You got to have a lot of salt, and you just enjoy eating your poison.
I can't tell you the last time I ate at McDonald's, but McDonald's French fries and McDonald's shakes are very similar in this regard. They are incredibly good when they're good. And then when they turn bad on you,
oh yeah,
it is vicious.
Yeah.
When they turn bad on you. By the way, so Donald Trump says he's going to cook French fries. There was an op-ed, I'm not making this up, in the New York Post of all places. I'm a McDonald's chef. Come on now, chef. I'm a McDonald's chef. Trump has no idea how difficult it is to be a French fry cook. There's an op-ed in the New York Post today by someone who says that it is a tough task to cook fries at McDonald's. I would be willing to bet you, if someone knows a manager at a McDonald's, I bet you that I can learn how to cook French fries in 5 minutes.
I would say so, because at least 50% of it's automated.
Well, yeah, you open
dump the fries.
You open the bag, you dump into the basket, you put into the oil,
and it's a certain amount of time that
3 minutes,
and the oil is heated to a certain degree, so that's all already set up,
automated.
Then you pull it up once the time is over. You shake it out, and you dump it into the bin.
Here's what my steps would be if I were to guess. The oil's there, it's on, it's ready to go.
Yeah.
Open the bag of fries, uncooked fries. Pour the bag into the basket. Put the basket in the oil. Set a timer, whatever time it is. When the timer dings, you lift the basket out of the oil and you let it sit there for a minute so it drains the oil. And then you dump it into that place where they do the scoop and you salt it. And that's it.
Yeah, the French fry bin.
Yeah, how difficult is this?
Well, that's skilled labor, baby. That's $30 an hour.
Kamala Harris did it. It can't be that tough, reportedly. 50 minutes after the hour, we're going to check in with Brian Wilson. We'll see if Brian Wilson's ever. I'm going to ask Brian Wilson when we get him on. Did he ever have a fast food job? Did you ever have a fast food job, Bill?
I did. I worked at Obie's Pizza down on the Rock Block, which is no longer there anymore.
Obie's?
Obie's, yeah. It was a mom and pop pizza place down across from the exit in.
I did my stint at Waffle House. That's well documented.
Yeah. I don't consider that fast food, though.
But before Waffle House, I was Subway. I was a Subway guy. Do you know how many people go into a Subway restaurant and ask for free sandwiches? I don't understand it. I don't understand it.
Excuse me, we sell these.
Well, no. I mean, I don't know if it was particular to the location I was at in Carrollton, Georgia, but they would just regularly walk in, hey, give me a free sandwich. I was like, you can't have a free sandwich. They said, well, they don't know. No, people would say, they don't know how much of that you're using. Just give me a free sandwich.
Nothing venture, nothing gain, dude.
No, you're not getting a free sandwich. If I give you all the free sandwiches, I can't take free sandwiches home for me.
I tell you what, whenever I worked at Hardee's, I had a bunch of free big cookies.
You worked at Hardee's?
I'd go right back to the cooler.
Best eating in town, up and down and all around. I remember the Hardee's.
Working at Obie's was great because we would stick our heads under the beer tap when nobody was in the the dining room.
I did the same thing at Subway. I would just grab meat and eat it off the rack. That was before gloves too, boys and girls. Yeah, long before that. Hardee's, huh, Weaver?
Yeah, Hardee's.
I like that.
Yeah, I had a big pen. It was like a big plastic heart that smiled. And put it right there on my lapel of my Hardee's shirt. It said, "We serve cholesterol-free fries." That's a big deal back in, I think that was 89 or 90.
Well, I guess so.
Everything started going cholesterol-free in the 80s.
And so all the fries are cholesterol-free.
Oh, give me a big one.
They're good for Hardee's. I mean, everything else is chock full of cholesterol, but the fries, they're all good. It's 52 after the hour. Brian Wilson will find out where he worked when he was a kid at Super Talk. Winding down our portion of the day, handing off to Brian Wilson in the drive in mere moments from the super text line. My dad had 3 jobs when I was growing up, writes BC. His 3rd job was pizza delivery for Domino's. I grew up on free messed up pizza. I get it. Brian Wilson, did you ever have a fast food or a food-related job in your youth?
No, I never did. I was a stock boy in a grocery store when I was a kid.
All right.
I worked in a TV repair shop for a while as somebody who went out on calls and helped them move TVs around back in the day when you could, repair TVs. I worked at a Gibson's discount store during the holidays. And,
Sure.
And then most of the time I worked for my dad down at his shop. And then at 19, I started broadcasting. So I am just a few weeks away from my 50th year in broadcasting.
Oh, wow.
I know.
What are we doing? Are we having a party?
That's how dang old I am.
We should have a party someplace big enough to accommodate all of your fans. I don't know, like at the Ag Center, Wilson County.
Yeah, maybe we just find the McDonald's. That'd probably be enough to support it.
I think in 5 minutes you can learn to do the fry.
Really, honestly, I did a bunch of odd jobs, but then from 19, I started in radio, and I went to TV and then came back to radio. So I've been in broadcasting a long, long time.
For those who have never seen Brian Wilson doing a television stand-up regarding his television van, his television station van, you need to find that. It is so good, Brian.
Yeah, that was back in Amarillo. That was early Brian Wilson stuff. It's out. There's a lot of stuff out there, believe it or not, still. Anyway.
What's cranking up at 3 o'clock, my friend?
Well, I got some numbers about how we're voting in the state of Tennessee. Really a big turnout so far, just with 2 days under our belt. This is day number 3 of early voting. We'll talk about Donald Trump's appearance last night at the Al Smith dinner, which, if you don't know, is a big deal in politics. And Jim Gaffigan was brutal in his attacks on Kamala Harris. We'll play some of that as well.
Love it.
And, of course, not one but two Phone Your Farb Fridays today, starting at 3 o'clock.
On the way at 3 o'clock, right after Ken Weaver's newscast, and Ken Weaver's newscast is happening right now. Friends, hope you have a great weekend. Enjoy Brian and the drive. Hope your team wins, unless your team is the Texas Longhorns. Go Dogs.